What's going on, guys? My name is Quintarius. This is my wife, Caitlin. I thank you guys for tuning in to our series called Harmony. I wouldn't really say it's a series, but then again, it's like it kind of is. But I just want to start this podcast off with showing you guys a little bit of our background, telling you guys where we kind of came from and what led us to Christ. Again, my name is Quintarius, and I was born in Alabama. I would say I'm a very country guy. Mom, if you're watching, I know you'll like have a crack at that. But just growing up, I know for me as a teenager, I faced a lot of depression. Growing up, being a middle school kid, a high school kid, just going through different phases and trying to figure out who you are. And I suffered depression a lot to the point where I would even push my own family away. I know that was very concerning for my mom and the amazing person she is. She reached out and got, people that had my best interests at heart to come and talk to me. And I just wasn't seeing it through. Fast forward, it really wasn't until I went off into the military and I really got that time to myself where it's like, okay, what am I going to do with my life? Is this really how I want my life to be? To continue to go around in circles with not being happy. And we got married. Fast forwarding into everything else, we got married. Marriage was going good. And then I would say, we start getting hiccups around that year time frame, especially when I finally moved up here where we are now in Norfolk, Virginia. And it was just trying times for us being in the military family. You guys would understand, where I'm coming from for those that can relate in that era. But it was just a lot of things we were going through mentally and physically. And I feel like it was another time where, God he did things for a reason to get us alone, to really show us, who we are and what we should be. And I was going on underways after underways. And it was a frustrating thing for me because I wasn't home. I'm the type of person, like I knew what I was signing up for, but also being away from home was a hard thing for me, especially because I was a mama's boy. So, but I remember I just got to that point when I was out to sea where I just felt like in my heart I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the life that I was living. I couldn't take just doing the same thing over and over again. And I see it was affecting our marriage. And I'll never forget. I can't remember if it was a email. I think it was an email or a phone call. I think I called her while I was out to sea, and she just said that she just got this feeling like in her chest, like, something needs to change between us because the way that we're going right now, it's not really good. And I didn't really talk about it before, but I grew up in the church. I went from different backgrounds in the church, and my mom was pretty faithful to making sure that us kids grew up in the church because that was very important to her for us to be around that. So I guess as I became a teenager, it kind of took me away from that because I wanted to do my own thing. I didn't want to feel pushed to do those types of things. And it wasn't until I got that feeling like I wasn't good enough. And then right at the right time, my wife's telling me like, I feel like something needs to change. And I'm like, what do you mean something needs to change? She's like, we need to go to church. And we hadn't been to church, like I would say, after we got married, like, and we moved away and everything like that, everything changed because we weren't going to church. Everything was changing because we were on our own. We didn't have that mother or that father to make us do certain things. We were literally on our own. And I I was just scared. And, being a man, being tough or whatever you want to call it, I'm like, no, why are we going to church? What do we need church for? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'm going to go. And I'm like, I just kind of left it at, okay, cool. She went to church. I remember coming home, and I think it was like right on the weekend when we were preparing. I think it was like a Saturday preparing for a Sunday. She was like, "We're gonna go to church," and I'm just like, "Okay." We come to church, and it's literally just the atmosphere of coming into the church was just irresistible. Like you couldn't get away from the fact that just being in a church where people just care so much about you, no matter what you look like, no matter how you talk, your background, they welcome you with open arms. And that really touched me. And fast forwarding into now, us wanting to get into different ministries and just be a blessing to somebody else. I think that's the reason why I felt the Lord called us to start this podcast and to really just give y'all a brief background of what we've went through, to let you guys know that y'all aren't alone, and don't be afraid to speak out and talk to somebody, because somebody out there is going to be there for you no matter what. So that's basically my background, I would say.
Hi guys, as Quinteria said, my name is Caitlin, and I have a sort of kind of different background than him. My mom was a single mom because she chose, my father chose drugs and other things over us. So, my mom was a really hard worker, and we moved all over the place due to her not able to afford different houses we lived in, so we would always have to pack up and move. I was born in Ohio, and then we moved down to Florida. And once we moved down to Florida, I remember one time we moved into a city, and my mom was like talking to me and my brother, and she was like, "Y'all are gonna go to church." And so we went to church, and me and my brother got saved. But and then once we went to that specific church in Florida, then we moved and we went to a different church. And I remember the church that we went to was called Westwood Baptist Church down in Florida. And the youth pastor, his name was Brother Yoder, and his family were just amazing, and they took basically me and my brother under their wing. They're always there for us, making sure that we were okay. We stayed over at their house, like on Sundays, eating dinner and stuff before evening service. And once we got a little bit older, the youth group decided to go to church camp, and church camp was just amazing for me and my brother. We just was, so excited and stuff like that. But as we got older, we had to move away from that city, and my grandpa died. That's when I started backsliding from being a Christian. But that youth pastor would still always reach out to us. And then I was just going through stuff in high school, just mentally not okay with certain things. And then once I met Quintarius, that's when things started to get really serious. We would go to church every so often, but we really didn't start taking our Christianity serious until after we got married. And like he said, when we moved up here to Virginia, because he's in the military. Once we moved up here to Virginia, and like I said, I just felt that pressure on my chest, and I knew that the Lord was talking to me, telling me, you need to get your life together. You need to go to church. You need to do these things, because if not, then y'all are not going to last in this marriage. And that we didn't want that. We both wanted to last forever in this marriage. We both said from the start that this is going to be our one and only marriage. We're going to be together forever. You know, like that's just what we've always said, you know. And when the challenge got hard, being up here by yourself with no family at all, you know, just knowing each other and not knowing anybody, it's tough. It's a really tough thing to deal with, you know, because you're moving to a new state, especially to a big city, because we're from a small city. It's not really that big, as busy as this area. So it was really hard to try to adjust. And from him, as soon as we moved up here, from him going to straight underways after underways after underways, you know, it was just really hard on us in our first year of marriage. But we are so thankful at the time that the church that we are going to now, it used to be called Upward Church. Now it's not called Upward anymore because our pastor used to be under a different pastor, and now he's the pastor of the church. Now it's called Movement Church. But that church at the time, just like he said, just brings you in, and they just put you under your wing, and they just help you, you know. Even it's just sitting there listening to you, or just sitting there being with you. You know, I just remember being up here by myself for the first time while he's gone, and experiencing all the holidays by myself. And you just have the elders of the church, or even the young adults, or even the adults that aren't young. They still bring you in like you're their own.
Yep.
And that's just amazing thing that we want to share with you guys. We are so excited to do this podcast. We are so excited for y'all to see the journey. We aren't perfect, you know. We still have our ups and downs, but as long as we have the Lord in our hearts and this amazing church, that's all we need. Because we know life isn't perfect, and we want y'all to know that. We don't want y'all to think that, oh, y'all are just the absolutely perfect marriage couple. No, we're not. We go through trials and tribulations just like you do, and that's what mostly this podcast is going to be about. Is we're going to have people come on here, and they are going to tell you about their trials and tribulations. They're going to tell you about what the Lord's challenged you with, you know, what the Lord has done for their life, what the Lord is continuing to do in their life. You know, it's not just going to be based off of, you know, perfect, because it's not. There's going to be laughter, there's going to be tears, you know, there's going to be times where people are going to be really sensitive to certain things, but this is what needs to be said. This is what needs to be done, because we're not perfect. Our pastors aren't perfect. Our friends aren't perfect. But it's just the continuing of fighting for each other and the love for each other and letting the Lord be number one in your life is what continues to keep this marriage going, and will continue to keep this marriage going. The Lord has blessed us with so much, and He's continuing to bless us with so much. And He's blessed us with starting a family and all these other things, meeting amazing friends that are coming and going due to military. But at the end of the day, we still have our backbone, and that's the church. And that will always be our backbone, no matter what we go through.
Yeah. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys staying tuned for this. I just want you guys to know that you're not alone. Like I said before, talk to somebody. There's somebody out there that would love to hear what you're going through. And I know it's hard to step out in faith to do that, because trust me, I was in those same shoes just a few years ago, and now, you come up to me and talk to me. I could talk to you just about anything, because that's what the Lord, He does to you when you allow Him in your heart, and He opens you up and literally starts taking out all those bad things and all that weight that you've been carrying your whole entire life. You're a new person initially. No, you're not getting a brand new body or nothing like that, but you're transformed into somebody you weren't. You're laying that old man to rest. And again, like she said, that's what we want to, talk about. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. I cannot talk for everything that y'all have done for us. Those that are watching, continue to stay motivated and stay positive in everything that you do. What is it called? No way we forgot. Your spiritual journey starts here.